I refused to invite my golden child sister to my wedding, so my parents threatened to cut me off. Then they tried to crush the wedding and got the biggest shock of their lives. I'm Sam, 30, male, and I've always had a complicated relationship with my younger sister, Michelle, 27, female. Growing up, our parents consistently favored her, which created a lot of tension between us. They would shower Michelle with praise for even the smallest accomplishments while barely acknowledging my achievements. Our family dynamic wasn't always this way. When I was younger, before Michelle was born, I remember feeling loved and supported by my parents. They would take me to the park, read me bedtime stories, and proudly display my artwork on the fridge. But everything changed when Michelle arrived. From the moment she was born, it was clear that Michelle was going to be the golden child. Our parents doted on her constantly, often neglecting my needs in the process. As we grew older, this favoritism only intensified. I vividly remember my 10th birthday. I had been begging for a bicycle for months, dropping hints, and even leaving magazine clippings around the house. When the big day came, I eagerly unwrapped my presents, only to find clothes and books. My parents explained that a bike was too expensive. Just 2 weeks later, they surprised Michelle with a brand new bike for no particular reason. When I asked why she got one and I didn't, they said, "Michelle needs more exercise. You're fine without one." This pattern continued throughout our childhood. When I made the honor roll in middle school, my parents barely glanced at the certificate. But when Michelle got a B+ on a single test, they took the whole family out for a celebratory dinner. The disparity in how we were treated became even more apparent as we entered our teenage years. When I was 16, I got my first part-time job at a local bookstore. I was thrilled to finally have my own source of income and started saving for college. However, my excitement was short-lived. Michelle, then 13, complained to our parents that it wasn't fair that I had spending money while she didn't. Instead of encouraging her to wait until she was old enough to get her own job, our parents made an outrageous demand. They insisted that I give Michelle half of my earnings each month. I was shocked and tried to protest, but they threatened to make me quit the job if I didn't comply. Reluctantly, I agreed, watching half of my hard-earned money go to my sister, who spent it frivolously on video games and junk food. This incident set a precedent for Michelle to feel entitled to my things. Throughout high school, she would regularly borrow my belongings without asking: clothes, electronics, even my car once I got my license. If I dared to complain, our parents would lecture me about the importance of sharing with my sister. They never seemed to consider that Michelle should learn to respect other people's property. Despite the constant favoritism, I worked hard in school, hoping that academic success might finally earn me some recognition from my parents. When I got accepted to my dream college with a partial scholarship, I was over the moon. I rushed home to share the news, envisioning a proud reaction from my parents. Instead, they gave a lukewarm response saying, "That's nice, honey," before quickly changing the subject to Michelle's latest soccer game. In contrast, when Michelle got into a local community college a few years later, our parents threw her a lavish party. They invited the entire extended family, ordered catering, and even hired a live band. As I watched them celebrate Michelle's mediocre achievement, I couldn't help but feel a mix of hurt and resentment. The final straw came during my sophomore year of college. I had been saving up for months to buy a high-quality camera for my photography class. Photography had become my passion, a creative outlet that helped me cope with the stress of my family situation. I had researched extensively and finally found the perfect camera that fit my budget. I came home for winter break, excited to finally make my purchase. But when I went to get my savings, I discovered that a significant amount was missing. I soon found out that Michelle had taken the money without permission to buy a new gaming console. When I confronted her, she shrugged it off, saying I could just save up again. Our parents refused to make her return the console or pay me back, dismissing my distress with a casual, "You should have hidden your money better." This incident was the breaking point for me. I realized that no matter what I did, I would never be a priority in my family. After that, I distanced myself as much as possible. I took on extra jobs to support myself through college, rarely coming home for visits. When I did, Michelle would make snide comments about how I thought I was too good for the family now. Our parents never corrected her behavior, often joining in with comments about how I had changed and become cold towards them. Despite the emotional toll, I managed to graduate with honors and secure a good job in marketing. It was at my new job that I met Jessica, 32, who has become my rock and biggest supporter. We've been together for 5 years now, and she's been incredibly understanding about my family situation. Jessica's own family is warm and welcoming, showing me what healthy family relationships should look like. 6 months ago, Jessica proposed during a surprise weekend getaway. It was a magical moment, and I was thrilled to start planning our future together. However, the joy of our engagement was quickly overshadowed by the dread of dealing with my family during the wedding planning process. After much discussion and soul-searching, I decided not to invite Michelle or my parents to the wedding. I want our special day to be filled with love and positivity, not overshadowed by the negativity and resentment that has characterized my relationship with my family. Last week, my mom called me in tears, demanding to know why they hadn't received wedding invitations yet. I took a deep breath and explained that, given our history, I didn't feel comfortable having them at the wedding. She accused me of being selfish and trying to punish them, completely dismissing my feelings as usual. My dad then got on the phone, saying I was breaking Michelle's heart by excluding her from such an important day. Apparently, Michelle had been telling everyone she was going to be my best man despite the fact that we've barely spoken in years. The audacity of her assumption left me speechless. I stood my ground and told them my decision was final. This led to Michelle blowing up my phone with angry texts, calling me every name in the book. She accused me of being jealous of her and trying to make myself feel important. It was as if she had completely rewritten our childhood in her mind, casting herself as the victim. My parents are now threatening to cut me out of their will if I don't invite them all to the wedding. This threat might have worked years ago, but I've long since stopped expecting or wanting anything from them. Jessica fully supports my decision, understanding how toxic my family dynamic is. She's offered to handle any further communication with them to shield me from their manipulation tactics. Some of my friends, however, have suggested that I should just invite them to keep the peace. They argue that I might regret it if I don't have my family at my wedding. Their words have planted a seed of doubt in my mind. Am I being too harsh? Should I give them one last chance? But then I remember all the hurt and disappointment, and I'm reminded of why I made this decision in the first place. I know this post is long, but I felt it was important to provide context for why I'm making this choice. So, Reddit, am I the a-hole for refusing to have my sister and parents at my wedding?